Well, hello, Young and the Restless Daily Recap fans. Today's daily recap is for Thursday, August the 3rd, 2023. Thursday, August the 3rd. Oh, I got a little gray hair up in this. Goodness gracious. I see it right in the camera, y'all. Say, hey, I'm in my 60s. But anyway, listen, uh, I was kind of smiling a couple of times today. Actually, probably three times today. Three, right? Look, Victoria's still out of town. Nikki is back. So you know what chair Nikki's sitting in. Because see, she's a co-CEO. Nate was only sitting in that seat because both of the CEOs were out of town. Well, Nikki is back. And I love that side of Nikki. She's talking to Nate, and they were going over discussing, I guess, a deal, a client, or whatever. And Nate starts to kind of smile a bit. And she goes, what's funny or what's entertaining? And he's like, oh, I was just remembering when these two gentlemen with this deal right here first came in. Oh, they came in, and when they saw that it was two women in charge, they just knew they were going to rule, take over, and you all were going to buy whatever they were selling. But you took control of that meeting and put them right in, they fell right in line. And now look, she goes, cut the crap, Nate. He was kind of like, wait, what, huh? She goes, I do not need, nor do I want platitudes from you. Oh, no, I mean, I was just saying, no, that I admire you. I mean, no, actually, before she said cut the crap, Nate, he goes, I admire you and what you do. I am going to learn so much from you. And he's sitting back, he's smiling. And that's when she did the cut the crap, Nate. And he looked like, wait a minute. It's not like daughter, like mother. You mean you're not going to fall for what Victoria falls for, huh? Wait, what? She said, I am watching you, and I have my concerns about you. You know, Victor has expressed his concerns about not trusting you openly. And if it weren't for me stepping in, I don't know where you'd be. And I thank you for that. I thank you, Nikki. She goes, however, that being said, I'm not sold on you. You have not proven yourself to me. The only thing you've seemed to do is like latch on to my daughters. And I want to know what's your plan? What is your plan? And he's like, oh, no, I mean, there's nothing nefarious. No, I'm learning. Victoria is just a phenomenal mentor and teacher. And yeah. Nikki says, you know what? I have to go to a meeting. But after that meeting, I have to go to a meeting offsite. After that meeting, I want you to meet me at society for lunch. I want to discuss what is your vision? Where do you see yourself 5 years, 10 years in the future here with Newman Enterprises? I want to get to know you. Why, great. That would be great, Nikki. I would love the opportunity to sit down. I would love it to talk to you. And she just looked at him. So I was like, give it, Nikki, go get him. Because see, she told him, she says, my son Nicholas still has reservations about you. And I don't know. I value my son's opinion. Value it. He goes, well, it's unfortunate that Nicholas still feels that way. But look, yes, I'm in his job, but he landed in a good position over there at McCall. Like, that makes it okay. And Nikki's just looking at him. Right? So that was really, really good. Then we go to Phyllis comes to Adams. Adam tells her he found something. He just worked backwards, from some different issues that had come up, and he did a paper trail. They had an artist back in the day, which was their music company's one of their highest paying artists. And he was on a very, very lucrative tour deal for the record label, right? He was accused of statutory rape of a number of underaged girls along the tour. Said the record label found out about it, but they kept things quiet until the tour was over. And when the tour was over, he was arrested, right? He was arrested. So it was the act of keeping things quiet until that tour could be finished. And he says, now, Tucker was not minding the shop at that time. He still owned the company, but he wasn't overseeing, because we all know that's how McCall got into the state it was in. Tucker wasn't overseeing his company, right? He says, but what I found was a very interesting email from Miss Audra Childs. One was, I guess the girls or the families had been paid to keep things quiet for a bit, because he was arrested and it was out, oh, you can't pay me enough, right? You didn't pay me enough. And then what else did they do? She told Tucker, the next email was, everything is handled, your hands are clean, all's clear. So they kept it still hush hush, but the guy was arrested, right? So anyway, she goes, okay, because all this happened under his watch. So he was willing his company to cover up the crime. Okay. All right. And actually, look, let it continue, because by not stopping the tour, handling him, other girls were victimized. So she goes, Adam, you could have kept this to yourself and used it for your own gain. Why did you actually give this to me? And Adam looked at Phyllis and he said, I have my reasons, Phyllis. Oh, I will use my information regarding Audra Childs in the future when I see fit. He's like, oh yeah, I'm going to use it. He's saying, but right now I'm helping you. Like you said, you're the best for our IT department. And she just looked at him, right? So Phyllis goes out of there, and Adam leaves. He goes to the park. He runs into Sally. Nick is out of town trying to shore up some McCall deals, see what they could salvage and things like that. And he tells Sally, what a time, it's not a good time for you to be left alone. I'm thinking, Adam, shut up. You knew Nick was out of town, or you could have went, right? You don't want Sally to be left alone. You could have went. So after she's had some time, she spent time with her family, she realizes she can't hate him for the decision he made. Plus, I know when she was talking to her grandmother and her sister, they were telling her, if we had to make that choice too, we would have chosen what he did. We would have done what he did. We need you here, Sally. You can have another child, right? But there is no other you. So anyway, she was saying, he was asking her how was she doing, how she handling, and she says she actually wanted his opinion on Victor, taking Victor's offer. And Adam just said, be careful. Nothing is ever what it seems with my father. Is it a good deal? Yes. Does it have strings attached? I don't know. Victor Newman always has strings. Can you do well? Is this a possibility for you to do well? Yes. Because he says, I'll be working directly under him. Because remember, Victoria fired her, right? So he's thinking, well, that's a good thing. I'll shield you from Victoria, right? See, and Victoria's not going to like this, that her father is coming in and now personally overseeing certain sectors. Good, Victoria. You need it. You need it. So anyway, she says, what about you, Adam? How are you handling things? And he looked at her. He goes, wait, I don't feel comfortable talking about this right now. He's like, I'm not in the headspace for like self-analysis on it. You know, she goes, oh, but you could talk to me. You could ask me how I'm feeling and how I'm coping. But I can't ask you how you're feeling and how you coping. And he goes, just not right now, Sally. It's too raw. I can't. So she actually reached over and put her hand in his, and I was shocked, and he almost melted. When she clenched his hand, he looked down at it and was thinking, oh my God, after the baby died and I had to make that decision, this is what I begged for. I just needed to know, you know, that she's not going to hate me forever, right? And so she goes, Adam, I want you to know, if you do, when you do want to talk about Ava, I'm here and I'm willing to listen to you. And he was just like, oh, okay. But he was just in shock. And I was in shock. And I'm looking at the two of them and I'm thinking, I've always said they belong together. I don't know. Are we inching that way? That's pretty crappy as Sally right now, you know, because then she left him and went to society sitting all alone. Oh, she was down in the dumps, which is why she's talking to Sally, because she had met with Chloe, told Chloe the idea. Chloe wasn't having it. She does not want to work for Newman, nothing. She's like, nope, it's a bad move. We've committed to Chancellor Winters. And Sally said, yeah, committed what though? We are freelance with Chancellor Winters. We will be creating a whole division with Newman, a far more lucrative and better deal. She goes, and Chloe's like, but we don't want to burn bridges with Chancellor Winters. And Sally's like, well, we don't have to burn bridges. See, they're not offering them the same. I just go to Lily and Devon, honestly, finish the contracted job, because really it's the executive suites they're supposed to be remodeling, right? That, of course, we haven't seen yet, because Lily and Devon, nor Devon have been back at the actual office. Maybe it's because it is being remodeled, but good God, how long does that take? They weren't knocking down walls, Sally and Chloe. They were just organizing it, you know, more ergonomic. But anyway, once they finish that project, they can just be honest with them and tell them, hey, yada, yada, yada. But guess what? Victor talked to Jill, didn't he? Jill's going to call and say, you know what? After they finish this project, for budget, we really need to let them go. That's what's going to happen, right? Because Jill's going to do whatever Victor says, even though she don't work for him. But we don't know that undisclosed amount of money he gave her. So anyway, Sally was down in the dumps about that she and Chloe are at crossroads, you know. but once they get the X-nay from Chancellor Winters, they won't be. So then we have, okay, Phyllis and Christine. Christine is Christine against Phyllis. Phyllis is Phyllis against, same old thing. And Phyllis was saying, Christine is like, oh, I want you to know, I know Heather's probably told you your court date has been set and it's soon. And Phyllis says, okay, I'm confident I'm innocent. I'm confident I'm going to beat those charges. And Christine is like, we both know you are far from innocent. From faking your death to this, to that. She goes, I am innocent and it's going to be proven. I'm going to beat all these charges. So Christine looked at her and she says, you know what? You want to know how you could ensure you could beat these charges? Because she goes, you know, it's a shame that you may beat everything, but your daughter won't. And Phyllis says, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Oh, Summer, aiding and abetting a felon. You, Phyllis. That's a crime. My daughter was only trying to protect her innocent mother. Stay away from my daughter. Don't you dare. She goes, look, still a crime. But here's what you can do for your daughter. Plead guilty to all charges, prevent the trial. And I would consider not pressing charges against Summer. Well, for one, Phyllis should have looked at that and said, so you want me to help you win a case that you're not going to win with you might not go after my daughter. Well, that's a no. That's a negative hard pass, right? So Tucker walks up towards the end of their conversation and he goes, what's going on here? And Christine says, you got till the end, I think the end of tomorrow, to give me your decision. And she walks off. So Phyllis goes and she sits down and Tucker says, what's going on there? And Phyllis is telling him, none of your business. I got it covered. I got it handled. Tucker said, didn't seem like you had it handled to me. It almost sounds like she's ready to go after your daughter. Wow, Phyllis. So you ready to, he goes, what is this? Why'd you call me here? You ready to play ball finally? She goes, I got a counter offer for you. And he said, what kind of counter offer could you give that I would remotely be interested in? So she broke it all down. Oh, because of information I know on you. And the cover-up of a rapist, very, very lucrative artist of your record label at the time. Huge tour, making you a lot of money. And it came to your attention that he was raping underage girls. Or actually he was having sex with underage girls. I don't know that he was raping them. He was having sex with statutory rape, right? With underage girls. And you all swept it under the rug until the tour ended so you could collect the money, leaving other innocent girls vulnerable to him. And he looked and then he kind of looked away. Well, I don't know any of what you're talking about. I don't know anything about it. Really? He goes, I wasn't, running McCall at that time. She goes, oh, but you still own the company. And you were in charge enough that, let me read you. Maybe a couple of these emails are going to ring true to you from Audra Childs. So Phyllis recited what Adam recited to her word for word for both emails. She goes, wow, you knew, and you were definitely in charge. Or you were definitely the responsible party. So now, what's going to happen when word gets out about this? He goes, I no longer owe McCall. That's now Newman's problem. She says, no, actually, no. Because this happened under your watch. And actually, this is something you didn't disclose. She didn't say this, but she should have said, this is something you didn't disclose in the sale. Ooh. But then again, why would you disclose that dirty little secret, right? So Phyllis said, I'm wondering, what would Ashley have to say when she hears about this? And he kind of straightened up just a little bit, but still keeping a poker face. What she should have done and gone for the juggler, she should have said, what would Devon say if he heard about this? That's what she should have said, right? So she goes, you will release Carson to me and my attorney, and we're going to put him in protective custody until the trial. Once the trial is done, my name is cleared. I forget I ever knew this information. And in my mind, I'm thinking, Phyllis, you lying. Phyllis ain't never forgot she learned nothing about nobody. She's a blackmailer to her heart, right? So he goes, I'm calling your bluff, Phyllis. Go for it. He goes, because see, I'm not going to end up behind bars. In this deal, you are. You have more to lose than I do, Phyllis. And Phyllis said, not necessarily. See, you underestimate me, Tucker. You underestimate me. You have a lot to lose. So he got up and he walked away. And Daniel is watching them talking. So he comes up, and now Daniel's being Daniel, demanding what's going on. I want to know this. I want to know that. Why are you talking to him? And so, she ends up telling him, which I don't know why she did. She told him about the deal that Christine offered her. And he goes, take it. Oh my God, take it. If it will keep Summer out of jail, if Christine won't go after your daughter, you should definitely take the deal. He said, protecting Summer should be your first priority, Mom. You say you love your kids more than anything. Now is the time to prove that you do. So she goes, but Daniel, that would mean I'm going to prison. And he said, Mom, that also would mean and ensure that your daughter doesn't. Right? Daniel's like, that's a no-brainer. And in my mind, I thought, see, that's Daniel being Daniel. Now, no, mind you, see, me, I never would have put my kids in the position Phyllis put Summer in at all. That is on Phyllis, and she was a horrible mother for that. Horrible. But Daniel doesn't know everything. He doesn't know that Phyllis has Tucker handled, because he doesn't even know Tucker needs to be handled. He just feels there's something shady about Carson. And thank God Phyllis doesn't tell him, because he'd run and tell. Daniel will run and tell everything. He would tell Heather the whole truth. Heather would drop Phyllis. See, Daniel, As it is, Daniel, anyway, Daniel's going to be a loose cannon. I see that coming. I see it coming. And that's what I don't like about Daniel. Now, mind you, he could blow up his family. He could blow up his whole family life, just being living in the bottom of a bottle. but he's Mr. Morality for every other situation on the planet, right? So let's go to comment corner, comment corner. We got 2 comments, everybody. Brooklyn says, now that my #1 favorite girl, Phyllis, is back, she's given a storyline that I'm looking forward to. Tick, Tucker, tick, Tucker. You must really mean TikTok Tucker, right? TikTok. And then LaShunta says, uh-oh, I saw how Summer looked at Chance, and she's finally, you said down with Kyle, but you mean she's finally done with Kyle. Okay, she's finally done with Kyle. He's very disrespectful. Summer let Diane and Jack know Kyle was sleeping with Audra. Ashley's just acting. Yes, she is. She's not done. Billy is a traitor. What Ashley's saying is true. Diane will have his job. Billy's playing both sides, but you know what? He is playing both sides, but guess who put him in the middle of playing both sides? Jack and Diane. Jack and Diane. Ashley's always coming gripe to Billy, but Billy's always let her know, I've got Jack's back 100%. But actually Diane, remember, that's Diane's idea. I got a plan. I've got a plan. That's Diane's idea. And what is that idea doing? Really tearing the family 100% apart. But that's Diane's plan. Let's see. The second time Sharon's been busy, but Abby's complained about him working all the time. But Abby complained about him working all the time. Oh, I guess you're talking about Chance all of a sudden having time. Like, look, Chance had time for a picnic. Chance has just had time. But for Abby, he work. But remember, he was telling Abby that. Chance was going to the coffee house, just sitting there talking to Sharon, or, just sitting there having coffee, hanging out. Chance was saying he had to work, and he didn't have to work. He was just going there. He was just trying to escape the Abby situation. So anyway, all right, that's it, everybody. Oh no, I missed. Oh, goodness. Let me say this. Nate met Nikki at Society, and they had lunch, and Nikki said, okay, I want to know, where do you see your future? And he's like, well, I mean, working in whatever capacity that Victoria needs me in. And she goes, okay, well, let me ask you this. Where do you see this relationship with Victoria going? Now, mind you, Elena's there at the bar, but she's listening. Actually, she's not at the bar. She's at a table near the bar. She could hear them. Where do you see this relationship going with my? And he goes, well, Victoria and I, we think the same. She goes, you know what? Let me just make this plainer. Let me cut to the chase. Are you in love with my daughter? And Elena kind of perks up, right? And Nate says, no, the phase of the relationship that Victoria and I are in, it's too soon to give it a label. We both enjoy each other's company. We're compatible, at work and outside of work, professionally and personally. I mean, I don't know, what our relationship might be later. So Nikki says, so let me make sure you understand me. Victoria has been through more heartache in relationships in her lifetime than most. And I'm thinking, no, not really. She makes bad choices, but a lot of people do. Nikki, I'm sorry, how many times you've been in and out and married to other folks? So there we go. She learned from her mama. So now she says, so when I say, where do you see this going? Let's say you and Victoria don't work out. Okay. what position do you see yourself holding at the company then? And depending on the reason you two don't work out, if my daughter experiences 1 minute of heartache because of you, see, because of your track record with Elena and Amanda, if my daughter receives 1 minute of heartache, see, like I could be your ally, I will be your worst enemy. She says, you will be dismissed from Newman Enterprises immediately. Immediately. You will get your little severance package and your name will never be spoken of again. And Elena is just sitting there. She's kind of smiling like, mm. And Nate, he kind of, it shook him, right? Because he didn't think, what happens if I'm not her Victoria's boy toy anymore? What happens, Nate? And he goes, you know what? You know what? You got me to, I see where you're going. I see what you mean. And let me rephrase. I could see myself falling in love with Victoria. Yes, I definitely can. And Nikki just looks at him like, you just said a minute ago. It isn't even an afterthought, isn't even a thought. So Nikki, her phone rang. She goes, I gotta take this. She gets up, she walks away to go take her phone call. And Nate looks over and he sees Elena sitting there. He has the nerve to get up and go over to her. Hi, Elena. Hi, Elena. Elena's like, look, this is the menu. He goes, hi, Elena. Like he didn't say nothing to her. Elena. So she looks up at him. How are you doing? I'm fine. How's the job? So she goes, you know what? Cut it, Nate. Cut this whole sincere act you have with this polite conversation to me. She said, because I don't want none of it. She says, and let me tell you something, Nate, and let me make this crystal clear to you. You are going to get what's coming to you. I heard. She goes, I can't wait. I can't wait for you to get what's coming to you. So let me make sure you understand me. If you see me again, anywhere, don't approach me. Leave me alone. She says, or instead of just watching you burn, I might light the fire. I might be the match that lights the fire. And he looks at her and she goes, I could have a nice conversation with Nikki Newman. So she gets up and she turns and she walks away. And Nikki kind of saw the exchange there. And Elena walks by Nikki and she goes, Elena, she goes, Mrs. Newman. She walked right by her. She didn't snub Nikki, right? Nikki hasn't done anything to her. And Nikki just looked over there at Nate like, So then it shows a scene of them getting back to the office. And once again, she goes, well, thank you for joining me. I have a better insight. No, he goes, no, thank you for inviting me. You know, your questions really made me take a hard look, you know, at myself and like, what do I want the future to be? And yes, I now know. Mm-hmm. Thank you. Who thanks somebody for putting their butt in the hot seat? That's what makes her know he's not sincere. It's like, just shut up and say, okay, you know what? Thank you, Mrs. Newman. Let me get back to work. That's all he should have said. But no, Nate thinks he's such a smooth operator. Okay. So anyway, I can't wait. I can't wait for this to unravel, and it's going to unravel on him. So I'll be back tomorrow with another daily recap of The Young and the Restless.